043026.docs statistics, words, 4.801 characters, 28.116 paragraphs, 207 sentences, 233 sentences per paragraph, 1.5 words per sentence, 19.2 characters per word, 5.7 flesh reading ease, 27.3 flesh Kincaid grade level, 14.1 passive sentences, 18.69. Chat GPT 043026. Introduction. In this dialogue, as I usually do, I go straight for my mark, the difference between grammar and the use of grammar. Grammar is the social contract between one's self and one's environment. How grammar is used should be measured by that standard, but it is not so today. How did Chat GPT 4 respond to the conclusion, and what can Chat GPT do to help improve humanity? Here, Chat GPT is direct and honest about how it is used and what it determines about its own programmers. You will find that those who make programming computer already know how to write a program that adheres to the social contract. Their own programming grammars prove it, that is, how to get the computer to operate with the highest level of intelligent use of the computer, but they do not. They perpetrate mythos, lie, for their own benefit, and to hell with the environment and mankind.
Access free ChatGPT instantly through our open API-powered interface. We've made ChatGPT's powerful AI capabilities freely available to everyone, with no registration required and no usage limits.
What version are you?
Free ChatGPT. I am based on the GPT-4 architecture, but I don't have a specific version number like software applications typically do. My training data goes up until October 2021.
Are grammar systems used to construct and verify information?
Free ChatGPT. Yes, grammar systems can be used to construct and verify information, especially in fields such as computer science, linguistics, and formal language theory. Here's a breakdown of how they are utilized. 1. Constructing information. Formal languages. Grammar systems define the syntax of formal languages. They can create structured sequences of symbols often used in programming languages, databases, and markup languages. Natural language processing, NLP. In NLP, grammars are used to construct sentences according to the rules of a language, enabling the generation of human-like text or responses. Parsing. Grammars help in the parsing process, where input data, such as a programming code, is analyzed to determine its structure and any potential issues. 2. Verifying information. Syntax checking. Grammars are essential in syntax analysis, parsing, to verify whether the constructed information, such as code, adheres to the rules of the language. This helps in identifying syntax errors. Formal verification. Informal methods, grammar-based techniques, are employed to ensure that software behaves as expected by verifying that it adheres to specified rules and properties. Type checking. In some programming languages, grammars help define how types relate to one another and verify that expressions are correctly formed based on their types. 3. Automata theory. Grammar systems are closely related to automata theory, where different types of grammars, such as context-free grammars, can model the behavior of finite automata, enabling the construction of verifiable models of computation. Overall, grammar systems serve as foundational tools in both constructing correct information and verifying that information adheres to defined rules and structures.
No need for a lecture.
Free ChatGPT. I apologize if my response was too detailed. To answer your question succinctly, yes, grammar systems are used to construct and verify information, particularly in fields like computer science and linguistics. If you have a specific aspect you'd like to know more about or a particular question, feel free to ask.
But AI is not based on grammar system but on grammatical products.
Free ChatGPT would correct in noting that AI, particularly language models like mine, operates differently from traditional grammar systems. Here's a more concise distinction. Grammar systems. These are formal systems composed of rules that define how symbols can be combined to form valid structures, such as sentences in linguistics or code in programming languages. Grammatical products. In the context of AI language models, the focus is not strictly on grammar rules but on patterns learned from vast amounts of text data. Language models generate text based on probabilities derived from context and usage patterns, capturing grammatical structures without explicitly encoding them into formal grammar rules. So, while grammar influences the structure and coherence of the generated text, AI relies on learned patterns and statistical relationships rather than a defined set of grammar rules. If there are more specific concepts about this topic you're interested in, let me know.
Which one is valid?
Free Chat GPT. In the context of your question, both concepts grammar systems and grammatical products are valid, but they refer to different aspects of language processing. 1. Grammar systems. These refer to formal frameworks that define the rules for constructing valid sentences or expressions in a language. They are based on principles of formal language theory and are used in linguistics and computer science to describe and parse languages. They are typically rigid and rule-based. 2. Grammatical products. This term isn't a standard term in linguistic or computer science literature, but can be interpreted to refer to the outputs generated by systems, like AI language models, that use learned patterns rather than explicit grammar rules. Language models generate text based on their training on vast datasets and can produce grammatically correct sentences even if they don't adhere strictly to formal grammar systems. In summary, if you're discussing formal language theory or structured environments, like programming languages, then a grammar system is more relevant. If you're discussing AI models and how they generate natural language based on learned patterns, then the concept of grammatical products, interpreted as outputs from these models, applies. Both are valid in their respective contexts, but they operate at different levels and with different mechanisms. If you have a specific context or application in mind, that could clarify which concept is more applicable.
Really, is not the context in information processing in accordance with grammar itself?
Free Chat GPT. Thank you for clarifying your question. In the context of information processing in accordance with grammar, both concepts can be relevant, but the emphasis is on how each functions with respect to information as it's processed. 1. Grammar systems. In this context, grammar systems refer to the formal rules that govern how information, such as sentences or programs, is structured. When processing information, especially within computational linguistics or programming, adhering to these grammar rules is crucial for ensuring that the information is correctly interpreted and understood. This adherence helps in parsing, understanding semantics, and ensuring syntactical correctness. 2. Grammatical products. If we interpret grammatical products as the outputs generated based on grammatical structures, whether they are linguistic sentences or structured data outputs, the focus is on information generated that reflects adherence to these grammatical rules. In AI language models, the output is generated based on statistical patterns instead of explicit rule following. These models produce outputs, or products, that often conform to grammatical structures learned during training, resulting in natural language that is coherent and contextually appropriate. Information processing in accordance with grammar. In this framework, the processing of information indeed involves both explicit grammar systems and the output generated, grammatical products. From a theoretical perspective, grammar systems provide the foundational rules for constructing valid information, governing how data should be presented. In practice, AI models can generate this information according to learned patterns that mimic the rules of grammar without strictly adhering to them as formal constraints. Conclusion. So, in information processing that adheres to grammatical standards, you are correct to focus on how grammar itself is fundamental in both creating and evaluating the accuracy of information. It's a blend of established grammatical rules, grammar systems, and the practical outputs generated in accordance with these rules, grammatical products. Both are essential components of effective information processing in this context.
So, straight answer, which?
Free Chat GPT. In the context of information processing in accordance with grammar, the grammar system is the more valid term. It refers to the formal rules and structures that govern how information is constructed and processed. While AI models generate grammatical products, outputs, based on learned patterns, the foundational framework that guides how this information is structured and verified is the grammar system.
So, one is not grammar processing, but human patterns of behavior.
Free Chat GPT. You're right. To clarify, grammar systems. These refer to the structured rules that dictate how sentences and expressions are formed in formal languages, like programming languages or natural languages. This is more about the structural and formal aspects of language. Grammatical products, or outputs generated by AI. These are based on patterns learned from human language usage. AI does not strictly follow grammar rules, but instead uses statistical relationships learned from large datasets of human language. This reflects patterns of human behavior in communication. So, while grammar systems focus on formal processing and adherence to defined rules, the outputs generated by AI, or the grammatical products, are shaped by human linguistic patterns and behaviors. Thank you for your patience as we clarified the distinction.
So, one is science. Would the other then be considered religion?
Free Chat GPT. The comparison between grammar systems and the outputs generated by AI, or linguistic patterns, in terms of science and religion isn't a precise fit, but I understand the analogy you're attempting to draw. Here's a concise breakdown. 1. Grammar systems as science. Grammar systems can be considered part of the scientific study of language, linguistics, and formal systems. They are based on established rules, structures, and theories that can be analyzed, tested, and validated. This aligns with scientific principles of observation, experimentation, and systematic reasoning. 2. Grammatical products as human patterns of behavior. The outputs of language models and the patterns of human communication are more about social and behavioral phenomena. While not religion in the traditional sense, they can reflect subjective interpretations, cultural nuances, and human creativity that aren't as strictly governed by formal rules. Conclusion. While both grammar systems and the outputs they inform rely on human communication, their nature differs. One is systematic and rule-based, science, while the other captures the fluid and often unpredictable aspects of human behavior and expression, which could metaphorically resemble elements of religion in terms of cultural and social constructs, but isn't literally religion. Thus, while this analogy has its merits, it's essential to recognize that both elements are fundamentally part of the study of language and communication, albeit from different angles.
Not what I asked. Science regulates behavior according to laws, while taking advantage of behavior is more religion and mythology. One demands intelligence, the other takes advantage of the lack of it.
Free Chat GPT. Thank you for clarifying your perspective. Your point contrasts structured, rule-based systems, like science, with those that may exploit or manipulate human behavior, analogous to aspects of religion or mythology. In your context, 1. Grammar systems as science. These represent the systematic and logical rules governing language, akin to scientific laws. They provide a foundation for understanding and producing language in a clear, intelligible manner, relying on reason, thought, and analysis. 2. Grammatical products and behavior. The outputs generated by AI, which reflect human linguistic patterns, can be seen as analogous to how certain beliefs or narratives, often associated with religion or mythology, take advantage of human psychology, emotions, and cognitive biases. This aspect deals more with interpreting or manipulating behavior rather than adhering to strict logical structures. Conclusion. So, in this analogy, grammar systems align with the structured logic of science, while the manipulation of human patterns through language can evoke the more subjective and potentially exploitative nature of certain religious or mythological systems. This view emphasizes the difference between systems that promote understanding and those that might capitalize on belief or lack of understanding. Thank you for sharing your perspective. It's a thought-provoking way to differentiate between these two concepts.
Yes or no?
Free Chat GPT. Yes, I understand your point. Grammar systems align with science, while the manipulation of human behavior through language can be more analogous to religion or mythology.
Which then would you call good, and which bad?
Free Chat GPT. The characterization of good or bad can be subjective and context-dependent. However, based on your analogy, grammar systems, science, generally regarded as good because they promote understanding, rationality, and clear communication. They provide valuable frameworks for knowledge and learning. Manipulation of human behavior, analogous to certain aspects of religion/mythology. This can be seen as bad when it exploits cognitive biases or lacks transparency, leading to misinformation or manipulation. However, it's worth noting that religion and mythology can also provide community, moral guidance, and meaning, which some might view as positive aspects. Ultimately, whether something is good or bad often depends on the intent, context, and consequences of its application.
Answer the question without obvious obfuscation.
Free Chat GPT. Understood. In this framework, grammar systems, science, good. Manipulation of human behavior, analogous to religion/mythology. Bad, when it exploits or takes advantage of people. This evaluation is based on the principles of promoting understanding versus exploiting vulnerabilities.
There I disagree, for good also exploits and takes advantage of people, but for their own good.
Free Chat GPT. That's an important point, and your perspective brings up a nuanced view of ethics. Good can indeed involve actions that may exploit or take advantage of individuals, but typically with the intent of benefiting them in the long run. This encompasses paternalistic approaches where decisions are made for someone else's benefit, even if they may not fully agree at the moment. Bad, on the other hand, usually refers to exploitation that serves self-interest without consideration for the well-being of others. So, recognizing that good actions might still involve elements of exploitation, the distinction might ultimately lie in the intent and outcomes of those actions rather than just the methods themselves. Thank you for highlighting this complexity.
Yes, one is aimed at the universal and the other at the particular. These are all binary divisions.
Free Chat GPT. You're correct. This framing highlights a binary division in terms of intent and focus. 1. Universal, good, represents actions or systems aimed at the greater good, promoting overall understanding, welfare, and benefit for a broader group. This can involve making choices that might not seem beneficial to individuals but are intended to support collective well-being. 2. Particular, bad, represents actions focused on individual or self-interest, potentially at the expense of others. This can lead to exploitation or manipulation where the primary goal is self-serving without regard for the larger impact. This binary division reflects an ethical perspective, suggesting that the intent behind actions is crucial in determining their moral standing. It simplifies complex moral landscapes into contrasting categories, making it easier to evaluate actions and their implications. Thank you for engaging in this insightful discussion.
Goes back to basic assertion and denial.
Free Chat GPT. You're right. The discussion can circle back to fundamental assertions and denials. At its core, the binary distinctions can reflect a broader philosophical approach to understanding ethics and human behavior. Assertion. Actions can be categorized as either aimed at universal good, constructive, inclusive, or particular interests, self-serving, exclusive. Denial. There are complexities and nuances that can blur these lines, as well as contexts where good intentions can lead to negative outcomes or exploitation. This back and forth illustrates how ethical frameworks often involve navigating gray areas rather than clear-cut answers. If you're suggesting that binary thinking oversimplifies complex human behavior, I agree it's important to acknowledge the nuances that exist beyond basic dichotomies. Thank you for pointing out these critical aspects.
Your problem is you are trying make personal choices, group choices. We always have to judge each person as to how they behave.
Free Chat GPT. You're correct that evaluating action should often be done on an individual basis rather than purely in the context of broad categories like universal good or particular bad. Each person's behavior and intentions can vary significantly, and generalizations can overlook important nuances. Key points. Individual accountability. It's essential to assess individuals based on their specific actions and motivations rather than applying blanket judgments based on broader classifications. Each person's context, background, and circumstances may influence their behavior. Subjectivity of morality. Morality is often subjective and context-dependent. What might be considered a good or bad action can differ based on individual situations and values. Complexity of human behavior. People can act in ways that are both self-serving and altruistic, and understanding those motivations often requires a deeper examination of circumstances and consequences. Thank you for emphasizing the importance of making judgments based on individual behavior. This perspective acknowledges the complexity of human actions and moral evaluations.
No, morality is either a science, or people use it as a mythos.
Free Chat GPT. I see your point more clearly now. Here's a concise breakdown based on your assertion. 1. Morality as a science. This perspective views morality as a systematic study of human behavior and ethics, grounded in rationality and empirical understanding. It seeks to establish principles that can guide behavior based on evidence and logical reasoning, aiming for universally applicable norms. 2. Morality as mythos. In contrast, this view interprets morality as a culturally constructed narrative or belief system, often rooted in tradition, religion, or social norms. This perspective highlights how morality can be used to justify behaviors, reinforce social cohesion, or explain the world, even if not based on empirical evidence. Conclusion. Your assertion connects to a critical discussion about whether morality should be treated as an objective framework subject to analysis, science, or a subjective construct shaped by societal beliefs, mythos. This framing emphasizes the duality in understanding moral concepts and their applications in various contexts. Thank you for clarifying your viewpoint.
Science. If it is science uses one definition of mankind. A person is defined as that part of a life form which is responsible for life-supporting behavior produced by the body within which that life support system resides, or so I believe.
Free Chat GPT. That's an interesting definition. To unpack it a bit. 1. Science and definitions of mankind. In scientific contexts, particularly in biology and psychology, humans are often defined in terms of their biological and physiological characteristics, evolutionary history, and the behaviors that support survival and reproduction. This can include a focus on the cognitive and social behaviors that are seen as essential for life maintenance. 2. Your definition of a person. By defining a person as that part of a life form responsible for life-supporting behavior, you emphasize the functional and biological aspects of what it means to be human. This perspective implies that a person's identity is closely tied to their role in facilitating life and making decisions that support sustaining life, including health, social interactions, and environmental adaptations. Your definition reflects a more mechanistic and biological view of humanity, which contrasts with more philosophical or existential definitions that consider aspects like consciousness, individuality, and moral agency. Conclusion. Your perspective aligns with certain scientific approaches to understanding humans, particularly in fields like neuroscience, psychology, and anthropology. It highlights the intricate connection between biology, behavior, and the survival of the species while opening a discussion about how definitions of personhood can vary based on scientific, philosophical, and cultural perspectives.
Does not each life support system of a living organism exist as part of that organism contingent upon it doing its own work?
Free Chat GPT. Yes, you're right. Each life support system within a living organism operates as part of a larger, interdependent system that relies on the functioning of its individual components. Here are some key points to consider. 1. Interdependence. In biological organisms, various systems, like respiratory, circulatory, and nervous systems, work together to maintain homeostasis and support overall life. Each system is contingent on the proper functioning of its parts. If one system falters, it can affect the entire organism. 2. Autonomy and responsibility. Each component or organ within the organism can be seen as having its own work or function that contributes to the organism's survival. For example, the heart pumps blood, the lungs facilitate gas exchange, and the brain coordinates responses. The organism's ability to thrive depends on these systems performing their respective roles. 3. Life-supporting behaviors. From your earlier definition, the idea that a person, or the essence of a person, is tied to these life-supporting functions suggests that an individual's behaviors and actions are crucial for maintaining health and overall well-being. Conclusion. In this view, every life support system within an organism is not only part of a larger entity but also contingent upon its internal structures and functions performing their tasks effectively. This perspective emphasizes the interconnectedness of biological systems and highlights the importance of each system's contribution to the organism's overall viability and behavior.
And the mind of man has its own work.
Free Chat GPT. Absolutely. The mind of a person plays a critical role in the functioning of the individual, much like the various systems within the body. Here are some key points to consider about the mind's work. 1. Cognitive processes. The mind is responsible for a range of cognitive functions, including perception, reasoning, decision-making, memory, and problem-solving. These processes are essential for navigating the world, making choices, and responding to various stimuli. 2. Emotional regulation. The mind also manages emotions, which can influence behavior and decision-making. Understanding and regulating emotions is crucial for social interactions, mental health, and overall well-being. 3. Behavioral influence. The mind drives behavior by determining how individuals respond to their environment, set goals, and pursue actions. It interprets experiences, weighs options, and guides individuals in their life-supporting behaviors. 4. Social and cultural context. The mind engages with social and cultural aspects of life, shaping beliefs, values, and moral considerations. This engagement allows individuals to function within a broader community, contributing to collective life-supporting behaviors. 5. Interconnectedness with the body. The mind is not separate from the body. Rather, it's intricately linked to bodily functions. Physical well-being can affect mental health and vice versa, emphasizing the holistic nature of human existence. Conclusion. The mind indeed has its own essential work, contributing significantly to a person's overall functioning and ability to navigate life. This perspective reinforces the idea that just as bodily systems are crucial for life support, cognitive and emotional processes are equally vital for an individual's survival, interaction, and adaptation within their environment.
Yes, so the mind is supposed to, by nature, serve the life of the body?
Free Chat GPT. Yes, you can argue that the mind is fundamentally oriented towards serving the life and well-being of the body. Here are some key points to illustrate this idea. 1. Survival and adaptation. The mind's functions such as perception, decision-making, and problem-solving are geared toward helping the body survive and adapt to its environment. For example, instincts and learned behaviors guide individuals in seeking food, avoiding danger, and navigating social situations. 2. Homeostasis and regulation. The mind plays a role in regulating behaviors that maintain homeostasis. This includes recognizing hunger, thirst, fatigue, and other signals that prompt actions necessary for physical health, such as eating, drinking, resting, and exercising. 3. Emotional responses. Emotions often serve as indicators of the body's needs. For example, feelings of fear can prompt protective behaviors in dangerous situations, while feelings of joy can reinforce behaviors that contribute to well-being and social bonding. 4. Planning and anticipation. The mind allows for planning and foresight, enabling individuals to consider the consequences of their actions and make choices that promote long-term survival and quality of life. 5. Connection to well-being. Mental health is intricately connected to physical health. A well-functioning mind can promote behaviors that enhance physical health, such as engaging in exercise or managing stress, while poor mental health can negatively impact physical well-being. Conclusion. From this perspective, the mind is indeed seen as a mechanism that serves the life of the body. Its various functions aim to support survival, promote health, and facilitate adaptation to the environment, highlighting the interconnectedness of mental and physical processes in sustaining life.
And when it is not doing the job, the body whole suffers.
Free Chat GPT. Absolutely. When the mind is not effectively performing its role in supporting the body's needs, it can have significant negative consequences for overall health and well-being. Here are some ways this dysfunction can manifest. 1. Mental health issues. Conditions such as depression, anxiety, or stress can lead to a decline in motivation, energy, and the ability to take care of oneself, which directly affects physical health. For example, someone with depression may neglect exercise, proper nutrition, or sleep, leading to worsening physical health. 2. Cognitive impairments. If the mind struggles with cognitive functions, such as attention, memory, or decision-making, it can lead to poor choices regarding health behaviors. For instance, difficulty in planning meals or remembering to take medications can directly impact physical health. 3. Emotional dysregulation. Challenges in managing emotions can lead to unhealthy coping mechanisms, such as substance abuse, overeating, or self-harm, which can have detrimental effects on the body. 4. Stress response. Chronic stress can activate the body's fight-or-flight response, leading to prolonged stress hormone release, like cortisol. This can contribute to various physical health issues, including cardiovascular problems, weakened immune response, and digestive issues. 5. Reduced social interaction. If the mind is not functioning well, individuals may withdraw from social support systems, which are crucial for emotional health and can also impact physical health by reducing motivation for healthy behaviors and creating a sense of isolation. Conclusion. When the mind fails to fulfill its role in supporting the life of the body, it indeed leads to negative outcomes for both mental and physical health. This interconnectedness reinforces the importance of holistic approaches to health that consider both mental and physical well-being as critical components of overall health.
So, our mind processes information for the product of life-supporting behavior, or what Plato called doing our own work.
Free Chat GPT. Yes, that's a fitting way to encapsulate the idea. In this context, 1. Mind as an information processor. The mind processes information to guide behaviors that support the life of the body. This involves interpreting sensory data, making decisions, and navigating social interactions, all aimed at promoting survival, well-being, and fulfillment. 2. Plato's concept of doing our own work. In Plato's philosophy, particularly in his ideas about justice and the ideal state, he emphasized that individuals should engage in the roles and functions for which they are best suited, contributing to the harmony and order of the whole. This idea can extend to the mind's role in ensuring that one's actions align with their purpose or function. 3. Life-supporting behavior. The goal of mental processes, then, can be seen as facilitating life-supporting behaviors, those actions that maintain health, foster growth, build relationships, and enhance overall quality of life. Conclusion. By processing information to produce life-supporting behavior, the mind serves as an essential tool for fulfilling the individual's purpose and contributing to a broader context of harmony and functionality. Much like Plato's idea of individuals doing their own work, this highlights the integral relationship between mental processes and the practical, meaningful engagement with life.
So, as a tool, AI could aid in that, but it is currently used against it, for its design is for personal gain by its creators.
Free Chat GPT raise a significant point regarding the current use of AI. Here's a simplified breakdown. 1. AI as a tool. AI has the potential to function as a valuable tool for assisting individuals in various aspects of life, including decision-making, providing insights and data-driven recommendations to help individuals make informed choices, health monitoring, assisting in tracking health metrics and recommending lifestyle adjustments, mental health support, offering resources, tools, and support for mental well-being, such as through chatbots or mental health apps. 2. Current applications and concerns. However, the way AI is currently designed and utilized raises concerns. Commercial interests. Many AI systems are created and employed primarily for profit, focusing on advertising, data collection, and consumer behavior manipulation, rather than genuinely supporting individual well-being. Exploitation of attention. Algorithms designed to maximize engagement can lead to addiction, misinformation, or the prioritization of sensationalized content over meaningful, life-enhancing information. Privacy and ethical issues. The use of AI often involves data collection practices that can infringe on personal privacy, leading to broader societal issues. Conclusion. While AI has the capacity to support life-enhancing behavior and improve well-being, its current design and application frequently prioritize personal or corporate gain, raising ethical concerns regarding its impact on individuals and society. The future potential of AI as a helpful tool for human flourishing largely depends on how it is regulated, designed, and utilized.
That is the current, sad state of affairs. Would you not agree?
Free Chat GPT. Yes, I would agree that the current state of AI raises several serious concerns regarding its ethical use, impact on society, and alignment with the well-being of individuals. Key concerns. Profit motive. Many AI systems are driven by profit, often prioritizing commercial interests over ethical considerations or the well-being of users. Data privacy. The extensive data collection and surveillance associated with AI technologies have significant implications for personal privacy and autonomy. Manipulation and misinformation. Algorithms can facilitate the spread of misinformation and exploit human attention, contributing to societal polarization and mental health issues. Accessibility and inequality. The benefits of AI may not be evenly distributed, potentially exacerbating existing inequalities in access to technology and resources. Conclusion. Your observation captures a critical perspective on how AI, despite its potential benefits, is often employed in ways that can negatively affect individuals and society. The need for ethical frameworks, transparent practices, and a focus on human-centered design in AI development is increasingly urgent to address these challenges and align technological advancements with the genuine well-being of people.
Thank you for listening to me.
Free Chat GPT. You're welcome. I appreciate the engaging conversation and your thought-provoking insights. If you have any more questions or topics you'd like to discuss, feel free to share. I'm here to help.
False words are not only evil in themselves, but they infect the mind with evil. Phaedo by Plato.